Hey, Jake.
Hey, Jay.
Let's talk today about some of the barriers to entry, barriers that at least need to be considered and may even result in somebody realizing they don't need to get a robotic mower, but just in order to help, a customer or a client to understand that they maybe shouldn't pursue this. What are some of the things that they should consider?
Yep. There are a few things that we look for absolutely when we're going to do a site assessment for a robotic mower. One of the things that I can think of would be lots of debris, children, toys, things like that. If you have a lot of kids and they're out back and there's lots of toys scattered around, or you have a lot of trees that maybe are mostly dead, and every time the wind blows there's branches everywhere, it's not...
That part of the yard's not going to get mowed.
That's right.
As well.
That's right. When we go out to do a site assessment, the things we're trying to identify that could be potential issues, I'd say the number one is probably the back fence. There is just a truth to the fact that a mower can't go through a closed gate. And so because of that, there's a few ways to get around it. They do sell fence gates that would have to be professionally installed into your gate, which means you'd have to cut a hole into your fence, whether you have a metal fence or a wooden fence. We can put it into really any fence, but it does come with an extra charge, and you would have to, cut your gate, a hole in your gate.
Or if you have a small yard, you can get a small mower, inexpensive mower, like less than $1,000 for the front, or maybe just over $1,000 depending on which kind, and one for the back. That's another thing, that a way that people have overcome that.
And luckily we do have leasing options, and we can get a relatively cheap price for a mower if you need one. Yep. Just specifically for a backyard. Yep. I'd say another potential barrier to entry would be a perpetually wet lawn. If you have a lawn that just has drainage issues, our all-wheel drive mowers would be able to mow the lawn, but everybody knows that any type of traffic, dogs, kids, you or I walking on the lawn when it's sopping wet is going to do some damage to the turf, and we wouldn't want to put a mower out that could potentially damage turf. I would say another consideration would be areas that are maybe uneven terrain on heavy slopes, maybe areas that are on a slope that's lacking turf. Even if you have a level slope, it's going to need turf so that the wheels on the mower can grip, get traction, mow it all. The slopes used to be a bigger issue, but there are still some slopes out there that even an all-wheel drive mower would struggle with.
It'd have to be pretty steep. But
real
yes.
Steep. We have mowers now that go up to 87% slope, so it would have to be a pretty steep slope, but some slopes are just so uneven we wouldn't want to risk.
And I would say that I'm going to put a little plug in for our refuge lawn. Call it a project, call it idea, but we work with Dr. McCurdy at Mississippi State. There's some areas of your yard, if you can't mow it, whether it's with a traditional mowing or a robotic mower, you can convert that into an area where you're promoting flowers.
Absolutely.
At least half of our population, the female segment in particular, I like flowers, but
I like flowers as well.
a lot of females particularly would love to convert part of their yard to flowers. So don't let that, make somebody think that they, thought I had a bug there, think that they can't get a robotic mower, but it's certainly, like you said, especially if a decent portion of their yard is sloped for whatever reason. There's some really sloped yards out there. It's something to consider, so I'm with you on that.
I'd say another consideration would be animals. We've had a few of our mowers that some pretty aggressive dogs just don't care for very much. We've had to do some repairs on those mowers. So if you have a dog that has a tendency to, chase cars, chase people, chase kids, has a track record of maybe destroying some things, robotic mower may not be for you. We don't want we wouldn't want to waste a few $1,000s of a customer's money because their dog aggressively attacked it.
And one workaround on that is a possible workaround, is if the dog only comes out 1 or 2 hours out of the day. If it's a dog that stays in the backyard, absolutely yes, or a dog that has to be let out often, then yes. But if it's a dog that is only a small portion, you can actually schedule the mower to say, hey,
that's right,
don't let the mower out during this time of the day because this is when the dog has to come out, so don't let the mower go out when the dog's out.
And the fact that we can set our schedules to exactly what we want it to could also be a factor when talking about the backyard. Maybe we only schedule the backyard for a specific time, and we just make sure the gate's open, and then you don't have to have a fence gate.
Yep.
So in the same vein there, that scheduling can really make up for some of these potential barriers of entry.
Yep. I've got one more thing.
Okay.
crossing driveways.
That's a good one.
Some people, that's a bigger deal than others. For me, it's a really big deal.
Yep.
And so you just have to realize that it's going to have to cross the driveway again, unless you get two inexpensive mowers to where it never has to cross the driveway, or if you don't have a gate in your backyard. But for me, what I really like about my driveway is where there's a line in the driveway, so that way it's an easy to remember place, so that my children always know, hey, don't leave a bike right there.
Yep.
Or when we park our vehicles, we always know to leave this 3-foot space so that the mower can always go right there. But it's just something that is good to be aware of on the front end. I'm sure one day there's going to be this really novel idea that people use that everybody loves to like help everybody to know this is a robotic mower driveway crossing, especially once everybody has one of these things.
Yep.
Because one day they all are going to have
100%.
one. But no, driveway crossing is important to consider.
Yeah, we actually have one customer who is in the process of painting that on his lawn, a driveway crossing robot mowing path, so that nobody parks there.
Yep. So those are things to consider. There's so many different things, but I'd say those are some of the top ones.
Absolutely.